Hey, welcome back. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Covered with Nachi. If you guys have watched the episodes before, we covered some personal auto over the last two episodes where I had a guest come in and talk about personal auto since I've been out of the personal insurance world for a little bit. So today I thought it would be appropriate to have another guest. I have Renata Krzyzewski here. I thought I was going to butcher her name. To talk to us a little bit about your homeowner's insurance. I figured since your auto is the first policy you generally buy, most likely a renter's policy or your homeowner's policy would be the second. So Renata is here to give us a little rundown of what's on your policy, what things to look for, what items you should be paying extra attention to, questions to ask for your broker, and so forth. Right? So without further ado, Renata, take it over.
Thanks, Nachi, for having me. Yes, so I'm here to talk about home, right? Your most valuable asset, I would say. I think I'm going to start talking about like market value versus replacement value. So when clients want to insure their homes, we may hear that I'm buying my home for, $400,000 or $500,000. That's what I want insurance for. Well, in reality, when we look at homeowners insurance, we want to make sure that you are covered for replacement value. We look at the square footage, the different dynamics of your home. We have a cost estimator that kind of gives us the value that we should start with, which is the dwelling coverage. From the dwelling coverage comes your other structures, which is anything on your property that's detached, whether it's a shed or a detached garage or a fence. Usually that amount is a percentage from that dwelling limit. And, we can always increase the limit as well if need be. The third coverage under a homeowner's policy is your personal contents or your belongings. So it could, your furniture, your clothing. I basically tell clients anything that's loose inside your house that you're kind of, that
Not
you have
fixtures.
inside, not fixtures, not
Okay.
anything that's attached.
Mhm.
Same thing, that's usually a limit that's 75% of the dwelling limit.
Okay.
It's an automatic calculation. A lot of people think that, they may not have that much, that they may not need that much coverage, if they can reduce it. We definitely don't suggest because it takes off the replacement value and your contents will be covered under an actual cash value, which means that they will be depreciated, which we don't want.
Right, and we talked about that last time, the difference between replacement value and actual cash value.
Correct.
The main difference there being the difference of depreciation. So we definitely don't want a home insured under ACV. We want it under replacement value so that the day that the loss happens, you'll be able to get enough funds there to fully replace based on that current market's construction value, material pricing, and so forth. That's great. How about liability on the homeowners?
So yes, liability. Same thing under a homeowner policy, it starts off with 100,000. We automatically write 500,000. A lot of companies are offering $1 million. That's really the suggestion that I would go with. It protects you if somebody slips and falls on your property. It kind of follows you, outside of your home as well. So definitely, if you can, $1 million worth of coverage is what we suggest.
Right, so it does follow you outside of your home, but the big thing there is that obviously it doesn't apply when you're in your car because then your auto liability would apply.
Yes.
However, anytime that there is property damage or bodily injury caused by you or a household member outside of your home, the first go-to place is your homeowner's liability. So it is really important to make sure we carry that higher limit, especially if you have young kids or you've got anything else going on.
Pools,
Yep.
pets that, you have UPS guys coming to your house all the time. You just want to make sure that you do have that protection. And honestly, the cost is fairly cheap. From a 500 to $1 million, it may cost you $30 more a year.
Wow. Okay.
So,
and just a personal story there, I had a dog who actually knocked a man off of a motorcycle. And my homeowners paid for it. It paid for his bike, it paid for his medical bills. So it is really, really important. Something you never think would happen, right? But dogs kind of hate motorcycles, or at least a lot of them do. And someone opened the gate just in time that a Harley was going down the street. And he bolted out it and knocked the guy right off his bike. So keep that in mind when you're talking to your brokers, when your policy's coming up for renewal. like an auto, are there ways to try to find savings in your homeowners besides just shopping to different carriers?
I mean, yeah, different carriers, and honestly, bundling your home and your auto with the same insurance company, it'll get you the best savings on both policies.
How about the difference between deductibles? Is there a big variance there where people should absorb a higher deductible? Or do you find that it's so minimal that it's not worth the risk?
So the standard is 1,000 right now. Going from 1,000 to 2,500, you probably are looking at, a few $100s in savings a year. So it's definitely, if you can incur that cost at the time of loss, I would definitely look at it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great point. And then the other thing too, I know that a lot of people might not realize how many resources they have through their homeowners, and maybe enhancers. I've seen before where they might have like identity theft protection and things like that. Does that vary from carrier to carrier?
I mean, most carriers, now offer that coverage in their packages. ID theft, I would definitely look at replacement costs on your contents, replacement costs on your dwelling, water backup. That's all, that all comes usually under a package with most carriers.
And then how about any exclusions that people should be aware of that I think a lot of people make assumptions about everything being covered until, of course, there's a flood or something that isn't covered. So
yeah, so the main ones that are excluded under our homeowner policy is earthquake, flood, and water seepage. We've had a lot of rains this year, and everybody's been calling, saying water's coming in from the grounds up, and unfortunately, water seepage is excluded under our homeowner policy.
Okay, but it is a coverage they might be able to purchase as an enhancer.
Yes.
Or a supplemental coverage. That's great, thank you. Anything else on the homeowners that you want to share with us? I know, a lot of people don't think of renters insurance, but it is so inexpensive and they can do that, right? You don't have to own a home to have this protection, especially the liability side of it. Anything you can say about the renters?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, if you are a renter, I would definitely recommend getting a renter's policy. Those are fairly inexpensive. It'll protect your personal belongings and your liability, and a standard policy, maybe $250 a year. And actually, you see a lot more savings on the auto if you bundle those two together as well.
Right.
So sometimes it pays it in itself.
Absolutely. No, that's perfect.
One other thing actually I do want to mention under the home is scheduling items.
Oh, yes.
So you can schedule, rings, musical instruments, fine arts, anything that's of value. I would definitely suggest scheduling it. There's no deductible involved, and if you lose a stone out of your engagement ring, it's covered for the value that you have set on your policy.
So when we talked about contents, right, it's important to know that it's not everything in your home that's loose.
Correct.
There are some items that are excluded from.
Well, yeah, because I mean, under your regular homeowner policy is just covered for, let's say, jewelry is for theft. Or, where if you have it scheduled, no matter what happens to it, you would get covered for.
Even if you just lose it, misplace it.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you have oriental rugs, I mean, somebody spills red wine on it. So that would, if you do have it scheduled, then that would fall under that.
Okay, wonderful. Anything else?
You know what, I think vacant homes, people move out, sell their homes, please contact your agent, have that conversation with them, because usually, even if you do have a policy and the home is vacant after 30 or 60 days, that, if something does happen, that coverage is now in void. So definitely contact your agent and have that conversation with them.
Okay, that is really important to know, especially I guess if you're on vacation homes and it's vacant for an extended period of time. Please contact your agent, make sure they're aware. Are there like vacancy provisions or things that they can attach to your policy that would extend coverage, or do they just have to switch to like a vacant
policy? I mean, again, you have to have that conversation with your agent. I've been in situations where, a client's home has been for sale, and as long as I'm in contact with underwriting, sometimes they will allow to leave that policy if it's, if it extends that 30 to 60 days, as long as they know there's like a contract, somebody's in going to purchasing it soon, they will allow you to keep the coverage.
Or
but they just need to
they know that the realtor's coming by often, or
Yes.
someone's checking in on the
But
property.
definitely have that conversation.
Okay, that's good to know. And then that ties in a little bit with personal umbrellas, right? That limit on the homeowners, is the 1 million the max you can purchase through your homeowners?
On a home policy, yes.
Okay, so if anybody has any concerns that are above and beyond 1 million, then they would address that through a personal umbrella.
Yep.
Okay.
And that you can buy, 5, 10, 15, whatever limit through whatever carrier you kind of go through.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then the personal umbrella, just so everybody understands, it is a liability only coverage. It does not have the two parts of the coverage that we talked about with the auto, where there is, first party, third party coverage. That's strictly going to be liability. It's all third party coverage. And it will sit on top of your homeowners. It will sit on top of autos that you may own, or even multiple other investment properties that you have as well.
Toys,
Vacation.
watercrafts, ski-doos, whatever you may have.
Okay,
Mhm.
and in the personal umbrella, is it much like the commercial world where you have to make sure you schedule the underlying? Or is it automatic that anything you own as the policy holder is automatically covered?
You are supposed to schedule the underlying.
Each
Yes,
policy?
each policy,
Okay.
yes.
So
Yep.
please make sure you're doing that too. If you are buying a boat, you have a separate policy for it. The umbrella carrier needs to be aware of it. So we need to make sure that your agent is communicating that, which is another real big reason why I think it's important to not have multiple brokers and multiple agents for different things. Trying to keep everything together is ideal, because then if you do buy a boat, then that agent
Right.
already knows about it. He knows to add to your umbrella. You don't have to worry about calling different people and making sure you get that information across.
Yep, you're absolutely correct.
All right. Anything to mention in terms of underage household members or anything like that? I know with the auto, it's really important, but not with the homeowners, right?
No, that doesn't really come into play.
Okay.
No. All
Um,
household members are covered, so.
Yep. One big liability item to keep in mind, especially with the holidays around the corner, is, people coming to your home for parties and gatherings, drinking, and then taking off. So, really keep an eye for over serving guests or anything like that, because liability works in amazing ways. And sometimes when least expected, a friendly person or an acquaintance can come back at you for something. So just be aware of that as you have people at your home and you're serving and you're hosting, that there's a lot of liability on the line. So we always want to be responsible.
Get the maximum limits.
Yes.
They're inexpensive.
Yes, it is better to be overcovered than undercovered.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Renata. It's a pleasure having you today. Everyone, please comment, like, share. If you have any questions, please let us know, and then I'll make
Call
sure
us.
to get that to Renata. If you're looking for a new broker, let us know. I'll make sure to
We're
get that
here.
information over too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And then just one more reminder, this is just for entertainment purposes only. We are not here advising that you make any changes to any coverage you have right now. Please contact an agent or a broker, your own or us. But that is all. It is just for entertainment until it is not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good day.